First order of business, approve minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor McDevitt. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. First item of business, we'll turn the floor over to SUNY Adirondack. Dr. Duffy, would you like to address the board?
Sure. So good morning, everyone. And what we thought we'd just focus on today is just to give you a briefing on where we are with the budget process. So I have Vice President Anne-Marie Selma to just do some statements.
Thank you. Anne-Marie, if you want to just use the mic over
Sure.
there, that way it'll pick up. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. We realize there are a few new supervisors in the room, so first, thank you for the opportunity to give you an update regarding our annual budget process, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. SUNY Adirondack is currently working on finalizing our proposed budget for our 2018-19 fiscal year, which for us begins on September 1st. It kind of goes with our academic year. For those that don't know, SUNY Adirondack receives operating revenues basically from three main sources. We receive state aid from the state, we receive what's called local share, which is support from our counties plus chargebacks to other counties for students that attend outside of Warren and Washington. And of course we receive student revenue in the form of tuition and fees. In a perfect world, each of those three parties would contribute about 33.3333% of our annual revenues every year. Based on the enacted state budget for the upcoming year, we anticipate receiving just $68,000 in additional state aid from the state. However, we should keep in mind that the state does represent 28% of our operating revenues, so they're pretty close to the 33%. But of course, we did ask for and we're hoping for more state aid than we received. As we've discussed in the past, we will be coming forward and asking our sponsors for a 2% increase for next year, which would total $68,000 total for Warren and Washington County. Warren County's share of that $68,000 increase would be about $39,000. That increase would keep our sponsor contribution at just 12% of our operating revenues. Because of our location in Saratoga County and our residence hall, we do receive about 12% of our operating revenues in chargebacks also, which is very high percent for a community college in New York State. So that would total about 24% of our operating revenues coming from what's called local share, which is our county contribution and our chargeback. Our third source of revenue comes from our students, and last week our Board of Trustees approved our tuition and fee schedule with a 3.8% increase in tuition, which brings the full-time New York State resident rate to $2,280 per semester, which was an increase of $84. Students will continue to bear the majority of the financial burden, representing 48% of our operating revenues. Our goal is to keep that under 50. We'd like it to be 33, but we realize that that's not where we are today. So our goal is to keep that under 50, and we will achieve that goal this year. Despite that increase, SUNY Adirondack does continue to provide a quality education at an affordable price, and please keep in mind our tuition rate is in the bottom third for New York State community colleges. So we are very proud of that. We're very fiscally responsible with the funds that were provided, and we provide a good education based on those dollars.
Anne-Marie?
Yes.
If they are on the Excelsior Scholarship, do they get the full amount covered or not?
Well, yes. I mean, if a student's eligible, the amount,
If
they're
they're
charged the $16.17. So keep that in mind. And then it's only for tuition. So whatever they're eligible for, they cover. It's what's called a last dollar scholarship. So let's say they get a little bit of tax, which is in money for tuition anyway. They would pay tuition. Reiterate the revenue piece of that. Remember, so this year, students coming in, they raised the income level. So they'd be charged 16-17 tuition, which is a loss of revenue for us. Yeah, so we're budgeting, I think, we're estimating a loss of about $55,000. Yeah.
Okay. Does that go up next year?
The tuition was froze for 4 years. One of our requests is that that be changed to 2, but it wasn't.
Thank you.
Our Board of Trustees is scheduled to vote on the proposed budget on May 24th, and after they do that, we have a joint county meeting for your Finance and Higher Ed Committee scheduled for June 1st from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That is hosted at the college. We have that meeting every year. It's kind of an annual meeting when the two counties get to come together to discuss the upcoming budget and the financial health of the college. As always, we're very grateful for your support. We look forward to sharing our budget with you. We don't anticipate that it will include any surprises, kind of continuing along on the path that we've been on. Does anyone have any questions?
Any other questions for the college reps? Okay, we appreciate you coming in. We'll look forward to seeing you on June 1st. Thank you.
And at graduation.
Yes, Peter will be there on the 11th.
May 11th?
Yes,
Okay.
Peter will be there. All right. Second item business, human resource. We have the listing of vacancies filled. Are there any questions on the vacancies filled this past month? Okay. We need a resolution to amend Resolution 205 of 2017 to make technical corrections and updates to out-of-unit policies to bring language in line with current practice and bargaining agreement.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 3A, Countryside, request to amend table organization and salary schedule to create a position of food service helper, part-time temp, not to exceed 20 hours, grade 2, annual salary of $26,742 prorated, effective May 16th until June 30th. A motion to approve Countryside. Motion by Peter, second by Supervisor Sokol. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 2, Health Services. Request to amend table organization and salary schedule to include salary of supervisor public health nurse number 6, disease control, from $66,000 to $69,000, as well as fill the effective, effective May 16th. This is a supervising nurse position. All discussed by committee. Motion by Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor Sokol. Any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sheriff's Alliance. This contract, we had discussed this once before informally, and the Sheriff's Alliance has actually two separate, they're one union, but we would like to divide the corrections officers separately, so we'd have Alliance 1 and Alliance 2. The custodial workers, the clerical workers would be in one part of the union, and the correction officers would be in the jail staff would be in the other part of the union. We talked it over with labor attorney, we talked it over with Ryan, and we talked it over to sheriff, and we're all in agreement to allow them to split the union. Any questions?
And
Go ahead.
the idea behind that is making it easier because you really have two different classes of workers.
Correct. It's always been it's been difficult to come up with a workable contract because their job duties are they're really different. You have the correction officers, which have an entirely different job than somebody who's doing some of the maintenance work over there or some of the clerical work. So it was requested of the union. We got that request this past year, and we've held on to it till we could clearly vet it, and we see no downfall to doing this.
Thank you.
So just need committee approval to move it forward. Motion by Supervisor Sokol, second by Supervisor McDevitt. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Both carried. Does that cover it?
That does cover it, and we will, our labor attorney will visit with the labor attorney for the Alliance, and then we will move forward at a later date. We'll need to bring resolutions to this board, essentially recognizing the agreement that was already approved. Will continue for the uniformed, and recognizing also that the same terms are in force for the other, for the bifurcated staff portion of the union, if that makes sense.
I think our contract goes for 2 more years, 2 or 3 years.
We do need the formal resolutions from this board, though, which, again, it's what's already authorized, but just recognizing that it's now for 2 different unions.
County Treasurer, Mike, do you have a request?
Basically, I have one of my employees, Monica Stark, who is ongoing trying to get her accounting degree. And this is the next step for a summer course. Swing class work. It's $1,000, and basically if she passes through the state, it'll be $500 reimbursement. Not just that way.
Brian, you were able to look at the paper?
I did take a look at the paperwork. This is essentially a calculus class, math, which plays into her job duties.
So somebody want to make a motion to allow? Motion by Supervisor Sokol, second by Supervisor Bramer. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Pending items. Committee to hold off on discussion. Oh, that we'll have more for next month, Employee of the Month. It was part of our discussions during the past performance evaluation, so we're going to try to have a plan. If we don't get it to we'll definitely have a plan in place to discuss in the May meeting, our June meeting, excuse me. The Ethics Board membership. I know we had some discussion on that, and you had some, there were some names put forth. Are there anybody else that's had time to go out and seek anybody else for the Ethics Board? I know we need to make changes because there's people who've gotten off. And, so is there any discussions on any of these?
Was there going to be a follow-up and ask to see if they were interested, and everything was okay, right?
Yes, so I reached out to the 4 people that you had suggested. I had a phone call from Jim Campanelle. He said that he would be interested and he would forward me something in writing. I have not received anything in writing at this point. I also heard from Rob Smith, who said he also would be interested. And I have not heard from either Judge Krogman or James Underwood at this point.
I need to ask a question. Doesn't Rob Smith, doesn't his wife work for the county?
Yeah.
I think that's a conflict myself. I think that, I don't think we should consider that. I think that would be an issue, having
I would agree with you, and even the fact that he's basically within the judicial system. I you know, Krogman's gone. Okay, so I have a concern about that, but I think your point, I think, is a little more.
I just think we need
yeah.
to stay away from spouses of employees, current county employees. Supervisor Bramer?
I talked to Mr. Campanelle, and he received a letter from Mary and said that he didn't think he would be able to serve because he is on the city Democratic Committee.
Oh, okay. Well,
We'll go back out then.
I think we should go back out and let's try to wrap this up by June.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So currently, the Board of Ethics, the ethics law says that the board has to be made up of 3 people. There have to be 3 members and 2 alternates. The board is further split into government members and non-governmental members. Currently, there are 2 non-governmental members still sitting on the board, Dr. James Morrissey and Dr. William Tedesco. If the board does, if you still want them to sit on the committee, then I would suggest just coming up with some governmental members that should be appointed, because currently there are none that sit on the ethics board. Edna Wells was a governmental member. She does not serve anymore on the town board. So if the board would like to still keep her on the committee, you can just move her up to the non-governmental member and keep her as an alternate. So really the only 2 vacancies are the governmental vacancies.
Okay, we'll concentrate on those. And they can't serve as part of any committee, right?
They can't be on a political party committee.
Okay, good. Trish, you had your hand up? No. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we'll try to wrap that up in June. So, vacancies approved for filing by the Oversight Committee. Public health nurse number 16, CNN number 22, CHN number 11, emergency fill supervisor public health nurse number 7 due to retirement. Any questions on any of those vacancies? And planning department, the construction coordinator part-time, that's Mr. Fitzgerald, went to part-time. He's retired, but he's still going to work part-time. And social services caseworker 31, senior account clerk grade 7, supervisor caseworker B, social welfare examiner 8, intake clerk grade 4, medical clerk grade 1, intake clerk number 4, and then intake clerk number 7. And you see most of those are due to promotions, 1 retirement and 1 resignation. Any questions on any of those? And the only other one I would like to put forth to committee, that just so you know, during our evaluation process, we talked with our planning director. You know, he does want to go out and then perhaps come back part-time, but we really need to put a focus in on looking for some planning folks. So I've asked Jackie if we can't look into that and see if we can't start a search for planning people, because we are going to need people. And you know, they have a lot more, and of course we've given them a lot more to do. So any other questions of the personnel committee? Yes.
Thanks. When is Wayne? When is his last day?
It could be a year, could be a year and a half.
Okay.
But he, you know, I mean, he just asked us, and that's a good idea. And he has talked to several of us about doing that.
Because some of the thinking is that there's transition that's smooth. As you said, there's a lot of work there. So
A lot of work, grants, and then he's taken on more for us, and he's involved in a lot. He just you know, he doesn't want to leave us flat-footed, and there's a lot that they do, a lot behind the scenes that they do, and you know, we're fortunate to have a planning director and a planning department. It's very well looked on and respected by state agencies, so we need to keep that.
Mr. Frankenfeld was just talking too about how they would like to work more closely with the planning department, and there might be opportunities for shared services there going forward.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. No, nothing else to come from the committee. Motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Simpson, second by Mr. Sokol. Thank you.